Okay, so we are recording. Jose, welcome. Welcome,
Welcome.
everyone. So this article and interview was written just in the last days of 2020. But thank you, Jose, for taking the time to record this on the 2nd of January, 2021. It's a good theme. We are actually bridging 2020 to 2021 for education. And this article guest is teacher José María Díaz Fuentes. I met Jose in August 2019 in a very special course, Integrated Curriculum Teaching Global Skills. I never guessed how important the teachers that were in that course would become for me and the work that I'm doing. Jose won a prize for the World Teacher, but he will tell you more about this. As said, this interview is bridging what 2020 meant for education. It was a turning point or turning upside down in absolutely everything, including education. And with Jose, it was a pleasure and a moment to stop and celebrate as well what 2020 meant for education, so we can take it further to 2021. Okay, he will tell you about him, so no more talking from my side. Just the first question. Jose, who are you as a teacher?
Greeting all from Spain. For 30 years, I have been working for the integral education of my secondary students. In the best way, I have been learning, trying to relate areas such as physics, chemistry, technology, and computer science. I am an older teacher, but I am well aware that changes are constantly taking place in the world of education. That is why I am constantly involved in training processes, lifelong training. So I communicate it to my coworkers and also to my students. Sometimes the changes are desirable and occur with frightful slowness. This is great inertia for true change. Other times, the changes are imposed by political whims of each region, and I think that it does not help to advance in the right way. Therefore, as my mother says, I am a little ant worker who is taking a step after step and patiently building the future.
Thank you very much. I wanted to mention, but now it's a good time, that when I met Jose, he inspired STEAM in absolutely every moment of the course. And that was a way for me to think about who we are, what we are, and the job we are doing. So, starting from this, Jose, what is the job that you are doing?
I work in a concerted school that has about 700 students. It is a school that is guided by the demands of public education, but with a special character inherited from the Salesian priest. Um, we always know that some facet of this type of education do not like to some politicians in my country, but we understand that a true integrated education must be a sign of belief in some personal feeling. I have a degree in physics, in theoretical physics, and perhaps what I have said may seem like a contradiction, but from my point of view, integral education is not an art with anything. We are a school in which we take care of the details from the smallest to the largest courses with a very stable team of teachers who easily agree to achieve common objectives. I assure you that it is not very common to see in my country. Due to the status as a technology teacher for many years, I have been working on projects and planning tasks with my students until researching the final goal. This encouraged me to carry out a researching project with my students so that they could exhibit their work at fairs. Fairs at first were unique in our school. Later, a group of teachers and I managed to encourage all the schools in our city to hold an annual science fair in which we could all learn about the work done in our classroom. The next step was to join in other regional and national events. Our students and also their parents are strongly agree with the initiatives, and each year we have many students who want to participate voluntarily, even from their free time in the afternoon.
Thank you. You mentioned two very important things. One of them is this prototyping. You explained actually very clearly how you start some actions with your students in the class, and then it's up to the school level and your colleagues, and then the parents, and so on, the communities involved. So this one is very important. Education happens in the ecosystem around the community. Second, you mentioned the contradictions, or this idea that it might seem as a contradiction. 2020 was full of these feelings or ideas of contradictions. And this is what inspired me about this moment of you and your work in 2020. We might not agree, or we might be disturbed by some policies or agencies that we do not control, and they're happening or impact on education, but in the same time, you keep up the inspiration and you teach with inspiration. So I come to the third question. What are the things you can let go, let them die in 2020, so they no longer serve you for 2021 and your teaching?
We have always believed that attendance at face-to-face classes was enough to clarify doubts on secure concepts, but students need continuous feedback from the teachers. During this pandemic year, it has been necessary to establish personal communication with each student on many occasions. It has been a hard work that has required many hours of being in front of the computer, but I have understood that personal dialogue is fundamental. On the other hand, we have all been forced to create digital content, but it is more than that. It is necessary that our content are understandable, attractive, and of quality. We often have to do remastering to go closer to the student, and that's better achieve the objective. The education professional, we must abandon many classical techniques and open doors to more interactive and creative ones.
Okay, so we get to this point and I ask you, what do you need? Resources, people around you to generate what you want to do, continue your work?
For the past 3 months, we have been experimenting with way of teaching. Students come to school every other day, and those who stay home receive assignments online. The big advantage of this is the good number of the students in each class. In normal situation, we have 30 students, and now working with half allows more interaction between all of us. The drawback is the duplication of work time because we have morning and afternoon schedules, in addition to those necessary to prepare materials online. Obviously, the need is logical. We need more teachers to be able to carry out all of this, but it is a problem that the administration will not solve for us. The administration dictate rules, and we, the teachers, simple do what we can.
True. What is one thing you can ask for yourself, for your community, for your students for 2021 and that would let you continue smiling?
It is not easy to answer that question because in our school we have many open battlefronts. We are a special school with special needs in which various institutions constantly pressure us. Bureaucracy on the one hand, visibility and propaganda because our existence depends on the demands of parents who want to bring their children to our school. Special educational needs for which we do not have enough personal staff and the constant threat of closing classroom by the administration. I am optimistic. So far, from my experience, we have survived 30 years. However, no winds blowing our country. It is as simple as ensuring a global pact for education in our country. We have been asking for it for decades and an investment in significant teaching staff. I hope that one day the education of our young citizens will be the most important things in my country.
And with these last words that you mentioned, inspiring words, Jose, what are 5 things you are celebrating for education in 2020?
I think it happens to all of us. From my first day of class, I already talk about showing my students all those things that made me fall in love with the science. But it is not an easy task. The fuse that light that love is not clear how it is lit. I have tried 1,000 times without knowing results because our students leave our school at 16 years old. Sometimes the old student write us and greet us with word of thanks, and that comforts all the students. Lately, I have received hundreds and hundreds of expressions of affection from my students, from parents, and even other professionals of education. I must be grateful for the opportunity I had about 6 years ago to open up to the international field through the scientific community. My appointment as a scientific ambassador was a mockery for some, I have to say, but I am very proud of the work done in that environment and for the help received by many European teachers. Working with the scientists has made me grow and learn a large number of educational techniques consistent with the 21st century. I also appreciate the lifelong learning opportunities that SchoolNet Academy and School Education Gateways provide. I think I have attended about 35 courses, making lesson plans for each of them and constructively assessing the work of European colleagues. I must also emphasize my commitment to learning the English language so that I can perform better in this task. It is not easy for me at my age because I only studied French when I was young. Today, I hardly even recognize myself. You know me, I am very shy, but you can see that I am talking here. I can forget Euneo's course last year when I was with you. My adventure began at the airport when my suitcase was held to search inside. Me alone in Helsinki, explaining my plans to the police. Oh my God! And the official languages is all in all places were Finnish and Danish. But it was time to learn and see the successes of the education in Finland. They are memories and learnings that I will never forget and that have marked my performance during this last year. The two trips to CERN in Geneva 2017 and 2018 have also made my life to learn the didactics of fundamental particle physics and to be able to teach my students the most important advances in this matter. My 21-day stay in the International High School Teacher Program helping me making new friends from all the world and led me to experience a new successful project with my students. I appreciate the good luck with my family, the minor consequences that occurred in this COVID pandemic. We are all safe, even my mother, who is very old. I think it is a blessing for her that everything has gone well, and it is a joy and an honor for me that she can hear we are talking about today. Recently, I received the AKS Global Teacher Award 2020. It's a great honor for me, but from the first moment when I heard the news, I have thanked everyone around me, everyone who are near me, and all who are thousands of miles away.
Thank you very much, Jose, for opening your heart and inspiring all of us to take these questions and answer them for ourselves and our work. For inspiring that education, above all, shows that we are working in ecosystems, and for reminding how important it is in these days, in this year, to be safe. Thank you very much, Jose, one more time for being our guest with this interview. All the best, and I wish you successful 2021 for yourself, for your class, for your community, and all the health for your family and friends.